She said the words with the ease of someone commenting on the weather. I never wanted to marry you. I always wanted him. Her voice didn't shake. Mine did. Not out loud, of course. I had trained myself too well to keep the surface still. But inside, something cracked, quietly, without ceremony. It was our 5th anniversary. Rain pressed against the windows like cold palms. The candles I lit flickered between us, shadows moving across her face like broken pieces of a truth I never saw coming. She didn't look at me when she said it. She looked at her phone. A text preview glowed on the screen, just a name, Elias. I felt the floor beneath me tilt, as if the world suddenly decided it no longer needed balance. I remember staring at her hands, those hands that once clung to me like I was her anchor. Now they lay casually on the table, fingers tapping, impatient, like she wanted this conversation to end so she could run back to him, back to the man she always wanted. My heart didn't drop. It didn't shatter. No, it went still. A cold, heavy stillness, the kind that feels like drowning under ice. She finally lifted her eyes to me. It's better we just end this, she said softly, as if she were being kind, as if she wasn't cutting open 5 years with one sentence. Then she added the final twist. I'm leaving tomorrow. A pause. But don't make this ugly, okay? She stood, kissed my cheek, the same cheek she once traced with love, and walked away. Just like that. She left me in the dim light of dying candles, alone with a truth I never asked for, and a silence that felt like the beginning of something darker. I sat there for a long time, not moving, not thinking, just feeling the cold spread. And in that cold, something inside me woke up. Not rage, not heartbreak, clarity. A clarity sharp enough to cut. The next morning, she packed lightly. Too lightly. Not the luggage of someone escaping a bad marriage. The luggage of someone returning to a place she'd already. I watched her, pretending not to notice the details. The new clothes she somehow had, the second phone in her purse, the way she avoided my gaze watching. She never did. I'm meeting him today, she said finally, forcing a smile I'd once believed. I didn't want you to find out that way. That way? As if any way would have been better. I nodded, cold, silent. Inside, something twisted. Not because she loved someone else. Because she had chosen me to be her stability while she chased him in the shadows. A backup plan, a placeholder. A quiet man she assumed would break quietly. When she opened the door to leave, she hesitated. He never knew about you, she confessed, a whisper, almost regretful. But I did love you, in my own way, her own way. I didn't react. I let her leave thinking she'd won. Because the first rule of being underestimated is simple. Never correct them. I watched her walk down the stairs, umbrella trembling in her hand as the rain soaked the morning. She didn't look back. Of course she didn't. You only look back when you care about what you're leaving behind. I didn't chase her. I didn't call. I didn't beg for answers she had already given. Instead, I began to dig. 5 years of memories. 5 years of moments. Replayed, re-examined, reinterpreted under a new, cruel light. There were signs, small ones, subtle ones. A late-night work trip. A sudden need for privacy. The way she flinched when her phone buzzed. The unfamiliar cologne on her coat once. The one she blamed on a coworker's hug. But I never questioned her. I trusted her. A mistake, but not one I'd repeat. I traced her messages through cloud backups she forgot I had access to. Emails, calendar logs, receipts for dinners she never mentioned. Each detail made one thing clear. Elias wasn't new. He wasn't recent. He wasn't a mistake. He was the constant. I was the interruption. The storm outside grew heavier as I pieced it together, as though the sky itself understood the weight of what I was learning. I found their pictures, hidden folders, hotel confirmations, love letters she wrote him while lying in my arms. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. The stillness remained. The stillness that comes right before something breaks, or changes forever. And then, one file, one message changed everything. A recorded voicemail. Her voice. Soft, breathless. Elias, I'm leaving him tomorrow. 5 years was enough. I'm done pretending. Pretending. 5 years of my life, my love, my loyalty. Pretending. But even that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the date of the voicemail. 2 months before she ever told me. She had decided long before she spoke the words. She had stayed long enough to secure her new life with him before walking away from mine. Every detail sharpened the picture. Every discovery cooled my heart further. Until revenge wasn't a fire, it was ice. She returned 5 days later, not because she wanted me, but because she needed something from the apartment. The key clicked softly. Rain dripped from her hair. She looked tired, like guilt had finally woken up. "Can we talk?" she whispered. I didn't answer. I placed her printed emails on the table. Her messages, her hotel receipts, the voicemail transcript. Her jaw trembled. "You went through my private files?" A strange question for someone exposed. She reached for the papers with shaking hands. I can explain." "Don't." She froze. I watched her face collapse slowly under the weight of truth. Not because she regretted cheating, but because she'd been caught. "He wasn't supposed to leave me," she whispered suddenly. Her voice cracked. "He said he'd divorce her. He changed his mind." Ah, there it was, the real story. She didn't leave him for him. He left her alone. "That's why I came back today," she murmured, eyes red. "To fix things between us. Us." A word that no longer existed. I let the silence suffocate her. She finally broke. Tears, sobs, promises. A performance she assumed would work on the man she thought she owned. But I wasn't hers anymore. I watched her unravel in front of me. The woman who once seemed so composed, now trembling like a ruined puppet. When she finally whispered, "Please, say something," I did. "You never wanted to marry me," I said quietly. "Remember?" She covered her mouth, horrified at hearing her own words thrown back at her. The truth cut deeper than anything I could have yelled. "I talked to the landlord," I said calmly. "Your name isn't on the lease anymore." She blinked, confused, shaken. What do you mean?" "I removed it, legally." Her breathing hitched. "You can't. It was in my name." "Was," I corrected. Her eyes widened with the slow horror of someone realizing the ground beneath them is no longer theirs. "But I have nowhere to go," she whispered. "That makes 2 of us," I replied coldly. "Except I didn't choose that." She sank into the chair, defeated, small. "Please, don't do this," she begged. "I was confused. "No," I interrupted. "You were deliberate." I handed her the envelope, a single sheet inside. A letter I wrote long before she arrived today. A notice. "You have 24 hours to remove your belongings. After that, they will be discarded." She read it with trembling hands. "You're heartless," she whispered through her tears. "No," I said. "You just mistook my kindness for weakness." I walked past her, opened the door, Cold air rushed in. She didn't move. She didn't argue. She just cried into her hands, the same hands that once held another man while she lied to me. I didn't offer comfort. I didn't stay. I left her there with the truth she created and the silence she deserved. She was gone by morning. Only the faint scent of her perfume lingered, a ghost of 5 wasted years. I stood in the quiet apartment, sunlight pushing through the blinds like a new truth. For the first time in months, my heart didn't feel heavy. It felt empty, but in a good way. An empty room ready to be rebuilt. 5 years ago, I loved her more than my own breath. Now, she was a lesson. A wound that had finally stopped bleeding. A reminder that sometimes the people who hold your heart only do so to see how easily it breaks. I opened the windows. Let the cold morning air wash away the last pieces of her. And in that stillness, I understood something. She didn't leave me for him. She left me because she never deserved me. 5 years later, she came back for mercy. She found none. My final thought as I walked away from the apartment was simple, quiet, brutal, true. If she ever loved him more than me, she can go back to him and let that love destroy her instead. And I closed the door on her memory forever.
How could you do this?